I slowly back my truck up to the open doors of the ancient summer camp dining hall. I rev the engine and the crowd inside goes wild. In the rear view, at the far opposite end of the dining hall, I see 4 misfit jesters sitting in plastic bread crates dressed in what might be described as hippie steampunk clown car chic. Sitting one behind the other with a death grip on a rope that runs the entire length of the dining hall, ending in a knot tied to the bumper of my truck. One of 3 things is going to happen. We are either going to be fired, badly wounded, or immortalized as summer camp legends. Possibly all 3. As a mid-70s 10-year-old, my parents shipped me off for a week to YMCA summer camp. And it not only changed my summer, it changed my life. Sure, we did all the normal summer camp things, but it was just so open and free. We'd paint faces for no reason at all, dress up in crazy costumes anytime, sing songs at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I was having a blast, but what I didn't realize at the time was that it was this secret invitation to invent and reinvent myself. And summer after summer, that's exactly what I did. Nothing embodied this free-spirited craziness like the world-famous Flying Kazenzas. Now, our counselor explained that these legendary acrobats had performed at camp for years. They had names like Clumsy, Clodswaldo, Crema Wittini, Giacomo Spumoni, and Velveeta Bologna. He said that they came from this obscure little country called Lithuania, 80 miles long but only 4 feet wide, nestled along the border between Italy and Lithuania. Go look for that. Now, having grown up in such a narrow country, they were natural acrobats, having to leap, dive, and roll every day just to get past each other. It seemed like a completely legit description to me. So every day at lunch, the dining hall would erupt in this chant, "We want the Flying Kazenzas! We want the Flying Kazenzas!" And then magically a letter would arrive describing their harrowing journey to make it for the big performance. So each day another letter, each day another cliffhanger. And by the end of that week, I was beside myself with anticipation. So the night comes for the big performance. The dining hall is rocking. We want the Flying Kazenzas. We want the Flying Kazenzas. And then they appear. And it is hard to describe to you what I saw that day and what I've seen many times since. Personally, the image I have is of a young Liberace on LSD who has pieced together his costumes from the contents of a Las Vegas thrift store dumpster. Throw in some tie-dye and a random assortment of knee pads and helmets, and you get the image. Well, they flew through the windows, danced on the tables, swung from the rafters. I was mesmerized, but as I looked at them, I couldn't help but notice that they looked strikingly similar to some of the counselors, including mine. So after the performance, when our counselor came back from his night off, we immediately accused him of being a Kazenza, and he calmly denied it, but said that he was often mistaken for one. We were incredulous. So as summers went on, I eventually became a camp staffer, and I was still one of the Flying Kazenza's biggest fans. And then 8 years after first setting eyes on these mythical figures, I was invited into their inner sanctum, and Guacamole Kazenza was born. But I was part of this new generation of Flying Kazenzas, and we just weren't satisfied with the status quo. When jumping over a lit candle wasn't enough, we leapt over a flaming puddle of camp stove gasoline. When swinging from the rafters wasn't enough, we got ropes and pulleys, and we harnessed Kazenzas and flew them around the dining hall like a very sketchy production of Peter Pan. And then one day at our weekly practice, we were hit by divine inspiration. Kazenza waterskiing. So I got my truck and we got a rope and we got some of these plastic bread crates, ran through it a couple of times and hoped for the best. So that evening's performance was epic. We were absolutely killing it. And then it came time for the big finale. I backed my truck up, and as I'm tying the rope off, I see eyes widening. I have this especially strong image of locking eyes with the camp director. Her gaze nearly melted my face off. So I ran and got in the truck, and I readied myself. I had 60 feet. Straight ahead was the $25,000 generator. To the left was the external fuel tank, and to the right was a wall of trees and boulders. So I revved it one last time, ready to go on the traditional count of 7. The dining hall was rocking, and I hear 1. My heart is pounding out of my chest. 2, I can barely breathe. 7, oh, shit. I gunned it and raced for my date with destiny. As I screeched to a halt just a few feet from the generator, I looked back to see my wide-eyed Lithuanian compatriots flying ass over tea kettle out the doors in a cloud of dust, only to land on their feet without a scratch. Just like that, we went from famous to legendary. So I got myself cleaned up and I headed out to go rejoin camp, and I was immediately accosted by a group of young campers who accused me of being a Kazenza. I said, "Who, me? Oh, no, I had the night off. I actually missed the performance, but I have been told that there's one Kazenza who looks just like me." They were incredulous. Thank you.